A man only truly respects a woman who sets standards he must rise to meet, not one who shrinks herself just to stay chosen. I'm Vernon, and today I'll walk you through 6 boundaries that instantly elevate your value, in his mind, and even more importantly, in your own. Women who command respect aren't busy looking better for men, they're becoming better for themselves. Because when you shrink to fit his comfort zone, you don't create love, you create convenience. But when you raise your standards, you don't just attract attention, you command respect. Boundaries aren't ultimatums, they're signals. Calm, consistent, and non-negotiable signals that retrain how he treats you and rewire how you treat yourself. After 60, we stop pretending that being liked is enough. We realize that respect isn't earned through sacrifice, it's claimed through clarity. Before we dive in, hit like and subscribe, so you never miss a truth that could shift how you love and how you let yourself be loved. Let's begin with the first boundary that changes everything about how men approach you.
Number 1. Stop explaining your availability. The first boundary that changes everything is this. You don't owe instant replies, explanations, or rescheduling to accommodate him. I watch women apologize for taking 2 hours to text back, as if their lives should revolve around his timeline. I see them explain why they can't drop everything for his last-minute plans, as if their existing commitments are somehow less valid. A man who truly values you will respect your rhythm, not demand you change it. This boundary looks like saying no without a dissertation. When he asks why you can't meet tonight, instead of listing your evening routine, your early morning, and your need for rest, you simply say, "Tonight doesn't work for me." When he texts and you're busy, you respond when it's convenient for you, not when guilt tells you to. I've watched women transform their relationships by honoring this simple truth: your time has value, and explaining diminishes that value. A man of quality will appreciate a woman who has a life worth protecting. A man of poor character will push against your boundaries to test if they're real. The boundary teaches both of you something crucial. You are not a convenience store, open 24/7 for his emotional needs. You are a woman with priorities, and he either fits into your life with respect or he doesn't fit at all. If you've ever felt guilty for not responding fast enough, share this video with someone who needs that same reminder. But a man doesn't just test your availability. He'll test your ability to protect your dignity through humor. And that's exactly why the next boundary matters so much.
Number 2. Never laugh at what hurts you. We've all known a woman who gave too much grace to a man who gave too little in return. Elaine was a close friend of mine from years ago, the kind of woman who gave love even when she didn't get it back. At dinner parties, she used to force a smile when her partner mocked her weight. Instead of speaking up when he interrupted her mid-sentence, she'd laugh along, as if her voice didn't matter. In her heart, she believed that being a good sport would eventually earn his affection. What it earned was his disrespect. Elaine's turning point came during a family gathering when he made another joke about her senior moments in front of his children. Instead of her usual forced laughter, she looked at him calmly and said, "That's not funny to me." As Brené Brown once said, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others. The older male doctor's voice was warm, clear, and calm, with a deep timbre and a deliberately slow, thoughtful pace. The room went quiet. His children looked uncomfortable, and something shifted, not just in him, but in her. This boundary isn't about becoming humorless or overly sensitive. It's about refusing to participate in your own diminishment. When someone makes you the punchline of their joke, your laughter gives them permission to continue. Elaine learned that her silence in those moments spoke louder than any argument could. She stopped being his comedic relief and became someone whose dignity demanded respect. The beautiful thing about this boundary is its simplicity. You don't need to lecture about respect or explain why something hurts. You simply withdraw your participation from anything that diminishes your worth. A man who truly cares will notice your discomfort and adjust his behavior. A man who doesn't care will reveal himself through his insistence that it was just a joke. After implementing this boundary, Elaine noticed something remarkable. Not only did the mocking stop, but he began consulting her opinions more, including her in conversations instead of talking over her. When you stop laughing at what hurts you, you teach others that your emotional well-being is not entertainment. You become a woman whose feelings matter to others and, most importantly, to yourself. Some boundaries are spoken. Others, like the next one, are all about how you treat your own time. Number 3. Don't clear your schedule for maybe men. Seneca left us with a truth worth remembering. It's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Vague invitations like, "Let's see this weekend," or "Maybe we can get together," are not commitments, and your time deserves clarity. I've watched too many women keep Saturday night open, hoping his maybe becomes a yes, only to find themselves alone while he made definite plans elsewhere. Teresa was 58 when her weekends quietly slipped away, sacrificed to the uncertainty of maybe. Book club plans canceled. Dinner with friends postponed. Instead, she sat by the phone, waiting for a confirmation that rarely came. One evening, after canceling plans with her sister for the 3rd time because he might call, Teresa had an awakening. She was treating her own life like a backup plan. The next time a man said, "Maybe this weekend," Teresa responded, "When you know for sure, let me know. I'll check my availability then." Have you ever canceled your own plans, hoping someone might choose you last minute? Share your story in the comments. You never know who might need to hear it today.
This boundary transformed Teresa's dating life. Men started making concrete plans because vague suggestions no longer cleared her calendar. Those who couldn't commit to specific times revealed themselves as not serious enough for her attention. Here's the psychology. When you keep your schedule flexible for maybe men, you communicate that your time has no value. You teach them that your life exists in the margins of theirs. But when you honor your commitments to yourself, friends, interests, you send a different message entirely. You become a woman whose time is precious because it's already spoken for by meaningful activities and relationships. The right man will work to earn a place in your full life. He'll plan ahead because he understands that access to you requires intention, not assumption. This doesn't make you rigid or difficult. It makes you a woman who values herself enough to require the same from others. Men respect women whose lives don't revolve around male attention. They're drawn to the richness and independence such women possess. Teresa now has a calendar full of activities she chose, friends she values, and yes, dates with men who plan ahead because they understand her worth. If protecting your time earns respect, the next boundary earns something even deeper: emotional safety.
Number 2. Go quiet after disrespect, not louder. When a man disrespects you, your first instinct might be to explain why it's wrong, to educate him on how his words or actions affected you, to give him a chance to understand and apologize. But here's what I've learned from women who command respect. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. This boundary is about withdrawal, not warfare. When faced with disrespect, whether it's dismissive comments, boundary violations, or simply being taken for granted, you don't debate, explain, or correct. You remove your presence. This isn't the silent treatment designed to punish. This is strategic silence that protects your energy and sends an unmistakable message. Disrespect costs him access to you. I've seen women argue themselves hoarse, trying to convince men to treat them better, not realizing that the argument itself communicates that disrespect is up for debate. It's not. When you go quiet after disrespect, several things happen. First, you stop feeding the dynamic with your emotional energy. Second, you create space for him to feel the weight of his actions without your reaction clouding the moment. Third, you demonstrate that your peace is more important than his understanding. A man who cares about you will notice your withdrawal and investigate. He'll realize something shifted and work to repair it. A man who doesn't care will be relieved by your silence because it removes accountability from his actions.
This boundary isn't about being cold or withholding. It's about recognizing that some behaviors don't deserve engagement. They deserve consequences. The consequence for disrespecting you is losing access to your warmth, your conversation, your presence. No drama, no lectures, no second chances in the moment. Just the natural result of poor treatment. Distance. Over time, this boundary teaches men that you're not someone who can be treated carelessly. Your emotional availability becomes something to be earned and maintained through consistent respect. Your silence after being mistreated is more powerful than any speech. This doesn't mean you never address issues. It means you address them from a place of strength.
When you've decided whether the relationship deserves your continued investment. Not in the heat of the moment when disrespect is fresh. Many women stay silent in the wrong places and speak up in the wrong ways. But there's one more silent habit that quietly sabotages your worth: pretending your needs don't exist. Stay with me. The next boundary may be the one you've unknowingly broken for years. Number 5. Don't pretend to be low maintenance. I've watched women contort themselves into pretzels, trying to be the cool girl, the one who doesn't need much, doesn't ask for anything, doesn't have preferences that might inconvenience a man. They say anywhere is fine when asked where they'd like to eat, whatever you want when asked about weekend plans, and I don't need anything special when birthdays and holidays approach. This performance of being low maintenance isn't kindness, it's self-erasure. And it doesn't make men appreciate you more, it makes them value you less. Quote, "When a woman hides her needs, she invites confusion and casualness. High standards aren't a character flaw, they're a filter. They separate men who are genuinely interested in knowing and pleasing you from those who want a relationship that requires minimal effort. When you pretend not to care about thoughtful gestures, you get thoughtless treatment. When you act like your preferences don't matter, you're treated like they don't. When you hide your needs behind 'I'm easy to please,' you teach him that pleasing you requires no real effort. The women I know who are deeply respected in their relationships are the ones who know what they want and aren't afraid to express it. They say, 'I'd love to try that new Italian place,' instead of 'I don't care.' They mention that they appreciate flowers, enjoy handwritten notes, or value punctuality. This isn't about being demanding or high maintenance in the negative sense. It's about being authentic about what brings you joy, what makes you feel valued, and what you need to feel secure in a relationship. A man who is truly interested in you wants to know these things. He wants to learn what makes your eyes light up, what small gestures touch your heart, what your non-negotiables are in a relationship. This information helps him love you better. The man who is frustrated by your needs and preferences is showing you that he wants the benefits of your companionship without the responsibility of caring for your happiness. Right now, you can save this boundary somewhere close. It's one you'll want to revisit every time you feel the urge to make yourself small just to keep someone comfortable. Being genuinely low maintenance and pretending to be low maintenance are entirely different things. The first is authentic and attractive. The second is a performance that attracts men who want relationships without responsibility. Stop auditioning to be chosen by hiding who you are. Start being selectively chosen by showing exactly who you are. Finally, the boundary that defines everything: how you respond to emotional ambiguity. Number 6. Don't chase emotional clarity. Watch for it. True intentions don't need to be extracted. They reveal themselves in time, through consistency, not conversation. A relationship that requires constant questioning to feel secure is already speaking, and often what it's saying is, "This isn't solid." When someone avoids defining the connection, the impulse may be to push harder, to ask, to clarify, to seek reassurance. But emotional clarity isn't something that grows under pressure. It shows up in how someone shows up, regularly, deliberately, and without needing to be reminded. A person genuinely invested doesn't keep you guessing. They make space for you, in their calendar, in their conversations, and in their long-term vision. They follow through. They initiate. They make you feel certain without needing to convince you. Pay close attention to where consistency lives and where it doesn't. Do the plans flow naturally, or do they come with conditions? Is your presence welcomed across different areas of their life, or kept at the edges? Are you seen and considered, or simply accommodated when convenient? When you stop chasing clarity, a powerful shift happens. Those who are sincere begin to offer it without prompting. Their intentions become visible not because you demanded them, but because they had nothing to hide. And those who remain vague, their silence becomes the answer you've been avoiding. You don't need to pull love out of someone who's ready to give it. You only need to listen, not to their words, but to the rhythm of how they treat you. This boundary isn't a test, and it isn't a game. It's self-respect in practice. Because emotional safety isn't something you beg for. It's something you recognize in those who are emotionally available enough to provide it.
By now, you've learned how to build 6 powerful boundaries, not to push love away, but to protect the woman you've become. These boundaries aren't walls, they're mirrors, reflecting how you've grown, what you now value, and what you'll no longer accept. When you stop justifying, stop shrinking, and start showing up with quiet clarity, everything shifts. You don't become difficult, you become unforgettable. Boundaries don't repel love, they attract genuine effort. They filter out men who want the benefits of your companionship without the responsibility of cherishing you. Most importantly, they teach you that your worth isn't negotiable. As philosopher Khalil Gibran wrote, "The self is a guest that must be honored, not bargained with." That's what boundaries do. They honor the guest within, your peace, your dignity, your time. After 60, we understand something that younger women are still learning. Real love doesn't require you to shrink, perform, or sacrifice your dignity. It asks you to be fully yourself and finds that self worthy of respect, protection, and priority. The most beautiful thing about these boundaries is their quietness. You don't have to raise your voice anymore. You raise your value. You don't have to fight for respect. You simply expect it and withdraw from situations where it's absent. Is there a question on your mind? A reflection from your journey? Or a story you've been holding on to? I'd truly love to hear it. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe so you stay connected to more heartfelt insights on love, growth, and meaningful connection, especially in the beautiful season of life after 60. And I'm Vernon. Thanks for watching my video.